I inherited faith states from Ihedioha, says Uzidimma. Hi guys, welcome back to Prospect Channel TV. Thank you for coming out here. Hope Uzidimma, the governor of Imo State, claimed on Sunday that he took over a failing state from Ihedioha. Uzidimma also stated in a broadcast in Owerri, the state capital, to commemorate his 3 years in office, that he did not receive a handover note upon taking office. He said that the challenges he confronted since taking over power were humongous, but he said that he had been able to surmount them. Despite the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic and insecurity, which he claims is politically motivated, Uzidimma's administration has achieved unprecedented results in 36 months. The governor stated that he inherited a failing road network but was able to build on an unfathomable number of quality roads, attracting the presence of President Muhammadu Buhari to the state twice. Uzidimma said that the civil service system he inherited was nothing to write home about, but today the state possesses one of the best civil service systems in the federation. He also said that he had given the traditional institution in the state and the judiciary facilities since he became the governor of the state. He said, the Imo State we met in January 2020 on the assumption of office can best be described as nothing very close to the political definition of a faith state, this time at a sub-national level. For all political purposes, we met a state with a decayed infrastructure, dysfunctional workforce, and a deeply despondent and traumatized populace. There was hardly any single motorable road across the state. The state capital of Owerri, in particular, was littered with motorable roads and dilapidated government buildings. The civil service was a good example of this, and a directionless institution with no regard for regulations and due process. As a consequence, productivity and reputation dropped to zero for a state like Imo, which was renowned for its efficient and reputable civil service. This collapse was a major dent in our pride and reputation. The general populace, dismayed by failure of government, relapsed into utter despondency and hopelessness, like sheep without shepherds. Yes, the situation was that bad. The situation was made worse by the fact that we had no handover note and there was nobody to ask questions about the government assets and liabilities. We were forced with a dead end. On arrival, our situation was worse than talking to the deaf and dumb. It can only be comparable to the ordeal of someone groping in the dark in search of a pen or a pin. Yes, it was that daunting, but we refused to be deterred. I am not the one to give excuses for failure. By my election, I had reached a social contact with Ihedioha to move our state forward, and that, for me, was a task that must be accomplished. To make a very bad situation even worse, it appeared that the god of oddities was temporarily on the throne. While we were trying to navigate an already messed up ship, Without a compass, the COVID-19 pandemic reared its ugly head with its negative consequences on the global and national and state economics, in addition to an unprecedented toll on human life. As if that was not enough trouble for us, some unrepentant sore political losers vowed to make the state ungovernable for me, and they did not stop at mere threat. They worked their threats by unleashing unbridled violence in the state. It was like hell was let loose, and insecurity became the order of the day. Our state, which was one admired for its safety and the sanity, became a den of criminals. Our state was a preferred destination for terrorists, became a dangerous city as visitors and even indigents stayed away for fear of becoming victims of the senseless killings, arson, and violence that spread across the state. Yes, our takeoff was that bad. It was bad enough to daunt even the bravest, but we refused to give up. Instead, we summoned courage and confronted all the challenges head on. I was convinced that this was what the Imo people who chose me over the other candidates expected me to do. Looking back to 3 years ago, I can beat my chest and say that to every large extent we have overcome. But I must add that we overcome not because we are the bravest or the wisest, but because God is with us. And I know for certain that our faithful God does not abandon his people. I was inspired and strengthened by the verse from the Holy Bible in Joshua chapter 1, verse 9, which says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you forever you go." So guys, I'm dropping it here. Kindly share.